Hey guys, and welcome to day 2 of our Jeweled Bug project. Today we get to use all the brainstorming that we did yesterday in order to start creating and drawing what we want this to look like for our final project. But first and foremost, as a reminder, if you have not yet, go into the link right up there where it says Hall of Frame and make sure that you are adding your pictures from your last project into it if you are willing and able to share with others. Reminding you too that only artwork that is shared in the Hall of Frame has the opportunity of being included in the end of the year art show. So make sure you're sharing stuff there. It's a fun way for us to be able to see what everyone's creating. Sort of like if we were in an actual building, we would walk down the hall and look at everyone's artwork. This is like our virtual hallway, our Hall of Frame, to be able to see what everyone's been making. So don't forget to share your artwork there. All right, that being said, let's continue on with where we left off yesterday. So at this point, hopefully you have chosen what bug you're choosing to do for this project. You should have found a picture yesterday. Remember, we're looking for more of like that bird's eye view from the top down because we need to be able to see the symmetry. That is going to be a key component in this project. Can you create symmetry? All right, so looking from the top down, not from the profile. We're not going to see symmetry that way, right? From a side view, we want top down. So anyway, if you can see way up above me, the bug that I've chosen to do, I wanted to go outside the box a little bit with something that seems almost like a legendary bug to me, the praying mantis. So that's what I'm going for mine. So you can see the picture up there and you'll see me drawing it in just a few minutes here as well. But first we gotta get set up. So before we even start drawing, we need to make sure that we're drawing it the proper size for our piece of foil, because if we're drawing it too big or too small, as you can imagine, it's not gonna really work well for the foil. So here we go. I've got my foil right here and I'm putting it towards the corner of my piece of paper that I'm going to be doing my sketch on, lining it up here. All right, that saves us 2 cuts by lining up in the corner. I'm going to take my pencil and draw the line here and draw the line there. Now this beautiful piece of thicker foil, I am going to keep this somewhere very safe. I might find one of my books that nobody else is going to be reading and place it in between the sheets of paper and put it on a shelf where no one's going to touch it. You can see it does have some imperfections, just like what happens when it gets shipped, right? But it doesn't have like distinct lines in it yet, like we're going to be doing to it shortly. So we want to keep it as flat and fresh as possible. We don't want it to have too many indentations or to get like bent in half or anything like that. So keep it somewhere safe. I like to keep it inside a sturdy book, out of the grasp of all the tiny humans and creatures in my house. So somewhere safe this goes. All right. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out. Here we go, taking my scissors. Now I know that I have the right size. It's going to fit on my piece of foil perfectly. Also, as a side note, you're noticing that your foil, you can choose which side you want to use for this. So you can start thinking about that. Obviously, we're not working with the foil yet today, but just start thinking about that. What side do you want to use of your foil? All right. My next step is going to be to fold my piece of paper in half. So just like this, get it as lined up perfectly as you can in each of those corners. I kind of give a light squeeze first and double check. Yes, that looks good. Then I'm using the back of my nail. I don't know if you can see that. Using the back of my nail, give it a good old crease. Just like that. Yay! Fantastic. Okay, so using the fold as the center of your bug, you're going to draw half of your bug, and notice that it says in plenty of detail. So I'm not just going to draw this, quickly and sloppily. I'm going to take my time. I have an entire class period to do this, plus the 30 minutes outside of class. That gives me an hour to make this look beautiful. So I'm going to use that time because what I'm creating today is going to be what we are using for the next, week and a half for this project. So I really want to make sure that as I'm getting set up for this project, I am doing a rock star job, doing the best that I possibly can. All right. So I've got my half right here. Just so that it makes it easier for you guys to see on the screen, I think what I'm going to do, now you shouldn't do this step, but I want it to be easier for you guys to see where my paper is folded. So I'm going to draw a line right down the center. That way you guys can see it on the video as well. You don't do that step though. You're not going to want that. Okay. So the picture that I'm drawing is this guy right here. So what I did when I typed this in, I typed in the words praying mantis, symmetry, illustration, because that way I got a drawing, which it's easier to look at a drawing and turn a drawing into a drawing versus turning like a photograph into a drawing. So I always type in illustration or drawing or something like that. I know that I want symmetry. A lot of praying mantis pictures are from the side and they're like, yeah, that's what they look like. Okay. So I didn't want that. I want the symmetry of it. So I typed in the word symmetry too. So these are some key components you can use for that. So I am going to look at the top of this and I am going to start to sketch it out. I'm going to do this really quick because obviously we don't want this video taking forever and ever. So I'll move it to so you guys can see me drawing this. So here you go. Now you can watch me draw. There we go. And then we gotta get, let's see, so I've got the head, like we discussed yesterday, right? So the head kind of goes like that. And now we're moving on to the thorax, and we've got the abdomen towards the end. So remember, we want to see all those segmented parts of my bug, right? I've got some little bits over here. So I'm going to not draw this in overly extensive detail at this moment because, we got to make sure that this video finishes up in our 2 to 12 minute time frame. But you can see where I'm going with it. Let's see. So this set of wings starts on this part here. There we go. So I'm like looking back and forth at what this looks like. That might be a little more arched than it should be. The pressure of drawing on camera. Oh my goodness. Okay. And this one kind of comes down like that. I could have maybe made this a little bit smaller, I'm noticing, but we're going to just roll with it for the sake of this video. I liked this illustration because I thought it was cool that it has the pattern in the wing here. So I really enjoyed that. It kind of looks like an eyeball on the praying mantis wing, and I thought that was really cool. I wanted to do something neat with that for my my final. I think I can do something really cool with the Sharpie markers once we get to that stage of this project. So like I said, I'm moving a little quicker here. I would recommend for you guys to take a little bit more time than this, but for the sake of the video and not wanting it to be forever, we're just getting a rough idea within a few minutes here. All right, let me just finish this little, the kind of telling part that it is a praying mantis, right? Those claws, they're so crazy. Like, what is it, part lobster? What's going on here? Anyway, so I've got my half. This I would say is very roughly drawn. I would definitely want to be putting in the detail of these wings yet. Like, I would be spending my time and really making this look as cool as this photo looks, okay? So taking the time to make those match up a little bit more and adding more detail to them. You don't need to do any shading, right? This is not a drawing project, so we don't need to be doing shading or anything like that. It's really just the outline, but I would add more detail to my outline, like in the wings and in the body yet than this. When I'm ready, my next step, once I'm like, yes, this side looks good. Remember, we want it to have symmetry, which means it's going to be exactly the same on one side as it is on the other. So I am going to take my paper, fold it in half. We're going to pretend that my monitor here is a window. It's not, so I'm going to be very careful right now while doing this so that I don't hurt my monitor. But I'm going to hold it on up to the window, and I am going to trace it onto this side, which I know is the back side, but then I'll be able to trace it again onto the other side to get the symmetry, so it's absolutely perfect. So I'll just kind of show you where this is at. So here, we can see it on the front side here, but we see it on the back side there. But I don't know if can you guys see this on camera? You can kind of see how now I can see through on my paper, like, oh. So then I'm going to take and trace that line, just like I see it through the paper. And that's going to give me a completely symmetrical bug from one side to the other. So your homework then, aside from getting your last project in the Hall of Fame, is going to be to have this completed and ready to go for tomorrow. Noticing as well that for tomorrow we also want to have some tape, cardboard, ballpoint pen, that little wooden stick that we got as well, and our metal sheet. So make sure you have all of the supplies gathered for next class as well. Have your beautiful drawing completed. I cannot wait to see these next class. We'll see you then.